My whole internal nervous system is excited. Good morning, and if I don't see you, good afternoon and good evening.
Hey guys, welcome back to Green Screen. We are talking about business systems today. It's part of our Made to Make It series. So this is Brett, and unlike most people, I think my first business systems a business system is the system that you choose to operate your business, the system part, but system really is a lot larger than that. You know, it's people plus processes plus the system you put those into to working a system that goes around and continuously improve, hopefully. But you guys took a little bit different approach. You wrote your own system to run your business. So what are the things that you think is important in a business system to making sure that things come in and go out the door the right way?
So the biggest thing about business systems that you need to build is communication. It all starts out when you are a single owner operator, right? When you are the person that takes the orders and prints the orders, you know what color red the customer wanted, you know what the artwork was supposed to look like, you know what shirt they wanted, you know everything that they said. But as your company grows, even to just a couple people, when you're the customer service person taking the order and someone else is printing, you have to figure out how to translate all of that information from your head to their head. And so communication is huge. Where we are today, we're not a huge company, but we have 25 people. And 25 people have to be on the same page at all times. And if they're not on the same page, what happens is we get a shirt in, we print it, we deliver it, and the customer gets something they didn't want. And they come back to us frustrated because they told us exactly what they wanted in the first place.
So we have something at Ryonet. We integrated a business system called NetSuite. So it's an ERP system, and it does everything for us. So everything talks into NetSuite. And we asked, does NetSuite know? Because if the system doesn't know, how does anyone else know? So we're trying to get out of email land. We're trying to get out of, hey, I told you this land. Hey, did you remember this land? And trying to go back into the system. So we drive all the communication through the system. Now, the unfortunate thing about screen printing is there's not a lot of business systems that are built specifically for this industry that actually do the whole thing. You know, there's some parts that do production management, there's some parts that do, artwork, but maybe a website, but not the entire thing all put together. So what a lot of people do is they start to plug and play. And they might do one thing on a spreadsheet, they might do one thing in QuickBooks, they might do one thing in a website, but how can you integrate it all together and to make it flow? Go.
All right, so there's all different ways to communicate with each other. There's a lot of different software platforms. There's not very many that are made specifically for screen printing, but there are a lot of platforms that are made for project management. And so if you don't have a screen printing platform, you can either choose to build one or utilize something that has already been built. The most important thing is just making sure everyone's always on the same page. There are still companies out there that print lots and lots of shirts and lots of jobs every day that are using paper, and they're using paper tickets to transfer from department to department to department.
Because that is their business system.
And that works for them. You need to just have a system that works for you, whether it's every person in the shop having an iPad, or every person in the shop having a computer, or every person in the shop having a piece of paper telling them exactly what to do for the day.
It could be something as simple as Google Documents or something
Absolutely.
like that. Or Trello or Slack. I mean, you can make any of these different tools work if you set it up right.
So the first step is developing a system that works for you, whether it is a platform, whether it is paper, however you want to deliver the information throughout your company, develop that system to work for you.
So if you're going to take an order, how do you take the order? What information do you take down? Now, do you take down the Pantone color? Do you take down the shirt color? Do you take down the shirt placement preferences? Does your system have a spot for color, for Pantone color?
Yes.
It's a specific field. Now, will it let you save the order without that color filled out?
No.
That's awesome. So that's a system, it's a process. So first of all, Brett's defined the process, we need to take the color, and then the system that's driving the process.
One way to look at it is to think about what makes you fail. What makes you fail on the production floor every day? What makes customer service fail? What makes shipping fail? What makes every department fail? Think about all those things that create bottlenecks, that create failures, that create mistakes, and write them down. And then one by one, go through and solve all of those mistakes and then train on how to wave your hands in front of your face. And then you'll have a great business.
And I think that like is so key, writing it down, because I think as humans, the first people we blame when something goes wrong?
Everyone else.
Everyone else. It's the boss's fault, or it's the customer's fault, or it's my team member's fault, or it's that department's fault. And really it's not. If we look at the system before we look at the person, we really get to the core of the problem. And by writing it down and going to those root cause analysis, you can actually build better systems, have people learn how to use those systems better, and overall create a better process because of it.
Never blame a customer for having high expectations.
Yeah, customers may or may not always be right, but they're always the first person. They're always the priority, because without customers, you're not in business. Here are some things that I would look for in choosing a business system. So first of all, cloud. Cloud is very important, making sure that it's not tied to a desktop. So I know your system doesn't run on the cloud, but you pretty much operate in a cloud environment because you're like running iPads and stuff like that or all across the shop.
Right.
So it's just not tied to a desktop. Not everyone uses it, right?
Right. The second thing is making sure it's user-friendly to everyone inside of your business. Make sure that everyone understands how to use it, they like using it, they fill out the fields that are there, and no one complains about it.
Third thing, make sure that you have processes that drive the system. You can't just plug in a system and just expect people to know how to use it. So training documents and standardization, how do you enter stuff? Do you guys capitalize everything? Is it all caps? Is it no caps? Do you put the customer's name first? Do you put the company's name first? If you standardize those things, your data, which is what drives the system, the data integrity is going to be so much more powerful.
Yeah, words, like defining the words that you use in your business, defining your business vocabulary is so important. I remember like times where someone calls and says, hey, this customer wants a reprint. Do they want to reprint the job because we screwed it up, or are they reordering the shirts? You know,
oh, yeah.
That type of verbiage is so important so you can communicate properly to all of the people on your team.
Yeah, we had somebody order a bunch of pallets once. Guess what they were supposed to order? Platens.
Right.
You call them platens or pallets?
I don't know. I think I interchanged the words.
I know, that's the one word we
I don't
can't
know what it
get
is.
Right.
Yeah.
Pallets are what you ship freight on. Platens are what you print on.
So cleanliness is important. Design is important. There are certain things that draw our eye and attract us. And if something is ugly, no one wants to look at it. So having something that is attractive to all your employees is very, very important.
Making sure that your customers see it that way too. If your customers can interact with your system, then it's taking away something from work that you have to do. So getting online integration, this is a very manual industry. It's an industry that's driven off of, hey, I want this, or hey, I want that. If we can get that into a system sooner, the less mistakes happen, the faster stuff gets done. So how do you place your orders? How do you track your inventory? If you can get into the system first, before you count it manually second, you're gonna go quicker and overall have more success, I think. And then finally, making sure that you're training your people on it. Training is a big thing, because the more your people know how to use it, the more your team knows how to use it, the more they can improve it. And there's never in the history of the world has there been a system that is done. It's constantly growing, it's constantly evolving. You're never finished building your systems.
If you are the owner of the company, if you are a supervisor, if you are a manager, you need to make sure you know how to do very well the job that you are trying to teach someone on your team to do, right? If you have high expectations of your team members, you better be able to do the job better than they can. Whether it's reclaim, or screen imaging, or printing, when you say I need this many shirts done per hour, how are they going to do that many shirts per hour? And so you have a well-documented process of how they are able to achieve the goals that are set in front of them. If the maximum amount of screens that they can complete every day is 100, Well, don't expect them to always hit 100. Don't always expect that they hit 100 because they're going to have kinks in the middle of their day, right? One thing that I learned from our project All Made in Haiti is the plant managers there said he knows on a really good day when everything is working right, he can get this out of everybody. But he never expects to get that out of everybody until the day he absolutely has to. Because if he gets everybody's 100% every day, they're going to break down, right? So he expects them to do this every day, knowing that some days they're going to do this, but on the days he really needs it, they're going to do this.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think we had people like do shadowing, and then we had practice makes perfect. Then after they shadow, they practice and reverse the roles, and they're on their own, and there comes more of a mentorship so they can ask questions. They're hubbed in the same work area with somebody else before they move on to the next process or the next part of the system. And because the truth is like most companies' systems are fairly complex, but the more people that know how to use them, the better that they become. A system doesn't have to be fancy either. Like you were saying, some people run their systems on paper, and it's insane. Like the world before computers or the world before the cloud, stuff got done. Billion-dollar companies were built. You know, the world was changed many times over before there was even an engine, right? So obviously, these things have been around since the beginning of time, and it's really about the methodology more than it is the tool that you use.
One thing that we have decided we want to do in our company is build Swiss Army knives. So having everyone in our company cross-train will make our company a better company, because at someday someone's going to call in sick, someone's not going to be able to do their job. If someone can step in and fill those shoes right away, that's great. But the other thing that happens is when somebody else that is not normally in that role comes over into this role, they can see little things to make that role better. And then they can voice their opinions and voice the facts that they learned from doing a different job. And that makes our overall company be better and helps develop our systems and fix problems in our systems and processes. And then tomorrow, we can be a much better company.
Yeah, a lot of people focus on technology, but it's more about how we use that technology as people and how we train people to use that technology through the process. So there's a really great quote by Bill Gates that talks about technology and technology's use in a business system. And it basically goes, the first rule of any technology used in a business is that automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency. The second rule is that automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency. So you have to be efficient in running your processes and training your teams before you plug into a system. You can't expect a system to do all the work.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. If you know, if you're working on broken legs, you can't run very fast.
Very true. That hurts.
A part of every good system is making sure everybody understands their role and responsibility within the company, and that is what we're going to talk about on the next episode of Made to Make It.